Thank you. At least this is our legislative meeting of July the 30th, and calling it to order. And what we normally do is we have our silent prayer, uh, and also after that, if you could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Amen. I make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous session.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes,
Commissioner Reese,
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes.
thank you so much. We have in front of us our next order of business is a presentation, and it's a proclamation recognizing August 2026 as National Emergency Awareness Month. And if you guys were watching this week, Nick came forward on Tuesday and gave some explanations as it relates to the flooding and what they did and the work that they've had to do in collaboration and partnership with other entities. But today is a day that we, every year, we acknowledge National Emergency Awareness Month. So what we'll do is read it, Nick, and then you can certainly have some words to say. Let me see. Proclaiming August 2026 as National Emergency Management Awareness Month in Hamilton County. Whereas emergencies and disasters can occur anywhere and unexpectedly posing significant threats to life, property, and the environment. And whereas emergency management plays a critical role in developing and facilitating preparedness, response, recovery, and mitigation programs in the community to protect lives and property before, during, and after disasters.
Whereas the Hamilton County Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency is the countywide emergency management agency for Hamilton County, established to serve as the central point for coordinating the county's emergency management efforts with all key partners. And whereas emergency management partners across all sectors play a critical role in building and sustaining a more disastrous resistance and resilient community.
And whereas emergency managers throughout Hamilton County have served residents and visitors during all types of emergencies and disasters and dedicated countless hours to establishing and maintaining the capabilities necessary to effectively direct, coordinate, and support emergency and disaster response and recovery efforts through compassion and professionalism. And whereas National Emergency Management Awareness Month provides an opportunity to express appreciation to all emergency managers who serve Hamilton County and emphasize the importance of investing in and bringing awareness to their role in helping our community.
Now therefore, be it proclaimed that the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners recognizes Hamilton County Emergency Management and Homeland Security Agency and its partners for their commitment to preparing, protecting, and serving Hamilton County against all hazards and risks. Be it further proclaimed that on behalf of all residents and community members of Hamilton County, the board does hereby proclaim August 2026 as National Emergency Management Awareness Month in all of Hamilton County. All right. I'm going to open it up to Vice President Reese.
Yeah, I just want to say, Nick, you do an excellent job of us being prepared so that we don't have to get ramped up to be prepared. We have had several potential disastrous type of situations, whether it was with schools, whether it was with trains. Now we're dealing with floods. And so just want to thank you for that. I think it's so important, as you have said, though, that we've got to be on our feet because we don't know what type of disaster, and we're always looking to train, develop, and improve. So just wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you. And thank you, Nick, for being here. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. It's a good reminder every year about the need for preparedness when it comes to emergencies. We've had lots of natural disasters. We've had man-made disasters. And so what I most appreciate about your organization is the aggressive approach when it comes to making sure that all 49 jurisdictions in Hamilton County are prepared, have a plan, which is something that you have initiated. And I think, again, it makes people think through something that they might not be thinking through otherwise and puts them in a better position to respond to these disasters in partnership with EMA and the county and all those jurisdictions when something happens. So I think it's really important work that you're doing. I know sometimes people scratch their heads and say, what exactly do you want from us? But I think raising awareness as you do with your team is so critically important. So thank you for doing it.
Thank you. And as always, I'll use my same adage. I sleep well at night knowing that you're at the helm. And I thank you so much for all that you do, your staff, bringing in new people on your staff, your creative way of thinking of things. I appreciate you're a social worker, which adds on to the compassion of taking care of this EMA system. So thank you so much. You can say a few words and then we'll. Yes, you can.
I just want to say, and we all think so highly of Nick, but I want to say I had the pleasure of being down at the NACO conference with him last week or 2 weeks ago when those storms hit. And I just want to say, from the second that we were notified this was going on, Nick, there was nothing else going on in Nick's mind but responding to this storm, and he did it constantly, and he was constantly keeping me and the board up to speed. So I just want to say it doesn't matter where this guy is. This is always on his mind, and he's positioned his team extremely well so that they respond well even when he's not there physically. But like I said, he was on the case from the second this wound up happening. So I just wanted to thank Nick for that.
Thank you. Nick?
I think, first of all, thank you very much. None of this would be possible without your support. It starts with the Board of County Commissioners and their commitment to preparedness for the hazards that face Hamilton County. Also, it wouldn't happen without the staff that work in emergency management. We're very fortunate to have just some high-quality professionals who care deeply about their mission. And so I would be remiss if I didn't point out that they are sort of the backbone of the system that I've attempted to envision with them, not to them. And I'll wrap this up because, as you know, I can talk about this forever. It's interesting that as we're currently dealing with the latest flash flood in Hamilton County and the impacts of that, the work or the business of government does not stop. And so as we're working on that issue, I was just looking at our calendar for the next 4 weeks. And starting with this Friday, and to kind of point out the breadth of issues that we work on, we are working with the Jewish Federation on a major disaster impacting, as you know, they have schools and buildings throughout the county and are a robust organization helping to make sure they are prepared if an emergency impacts their organization or their members. And then starting August 14th, we are working with the Colerain Township on a cyber exercise. As you know, one of the biggest sort of unseen threats that have impacted multiple local governments in Ohio, if not the country. So we're working with them to make sure they're prepared to respond to a cyber incident. Soon after that, we're now working with the county administration team on a cyber exercise. So as the county continues to meet, I believe it's House Bill 96 and the requirements in there, it doesn't mean we couldn't have a cyber incident in the meantime. So working with Jeff, we thought we should be prepared in the meantime as we develop those plans and procedures. So we'll be working with your management team on at least managing sort of a high-level cyber incident and what that would look like. And then a few weeks later, we are bringing in our EOC team to look at the issue of riverine flooding. So just to show you the breadth of the scope and why you need both that preparedness program, but also you need to have business continuity or continuity of operations so that even in this flood event, the business of government cannot stop. And so we need to be able to respond to the incident in the community and help our residents and our communities, but also continue because our residents still need their services. And we need to make sure we're prepared to do both of those things. So that is the challenge we face. That's why we write so many plans and procedures and then test them on an ongoing basis because The incidents, I'd prefer they happen at 8:30 on a Tuesday morning, so everybody's in the office, but instead they happen at 5 o'clock on a Friday while everybody's trying to drive home. And those are the breadth and scope we need to be prepared for. So thank you for recognizing this now.
And in the meantime, you're working on accreditation.
In the meantime, we are continuing. We were accredited about 4.5 years ago, right at the edge of COVID. And then that national accreditation, one of 30 counties in the United States, is up for review in October. And so we as you can imagine, I would say, we anticipate no issues continuing our accreditation.
Great. So we're going to come down and take a picture with you.
It's a chance to get my picture with Nick.
Not great. And then of course this always gets in the way. Yeah. Right there.
Okay. Next order of business are public comments. Do we have any public comments? Nothing on Zoom? Speaking here.
I have somebody that sent information and she was requesting to come get online, so I'm resending everything to her to be able to get online.
Okay, thank you. So let me know when that comes through, and we'll move forward with our comments and motions. Vice President Reese.
Okay. Thank you. First of all, we had the 6th annual Cincinnati Black Music Walk of Fame induction ceremony, and it was a huge success. Our goal was to get over 350,000 visitors. We have a clicker down there. Our new numbers are now, we have surpassed 400,000 visitors. The event was hit capacity in the Brady Center in about 11 minutes, but we had a watch party outside, so people were able to go outside and watch it, and it was great. And then we had our inductees, WCIN Radio, congratulations to them again, as well as want to also congratulate Heat Wave. Those were our 2 inductees this year. And we had people come from all over, even as far as the United Kingdom, of course, Los Angeles. It was great. Regina Bell, congratulations on keeping Nancy Wilson's legacy alive and her own legacy. She got the Legacy Award. She performed A Whole New World the first time since People Bryson passed. From Disney, Aladdin. It was a very emotional performance. We want to also thank Shirley Murdoch, who is one of our past inductees, who came and did a dedication to all former inductees, and she was incredible. Her performance was incredible. And I want to thank Second Wind and the Q Kids, who also performed, which was just phenomenal. Midnight Star did a spectacular performance on the outdoor stage for their 50th anniversary, and it was packed outside. They are a former inductee as well. So it was just an amazing, and I've got a lot of people certainly to thank. I want to thank, of course, Veda Stevens and Jackie Taggart from my office, Romaine Jones, Al Chang, Aziza Nubia, Chicago White, Nija Johnson, Sybil, Cam Johnson, Viola Brown, Don Juan for show, Lincoln Ware, of course, and all of our valued partners, in addition to, of course, Hamilton County, but Procter & Gamble, Metro, Greater Cincinnati Waterworks, ARP, the Cincinnati Public Library, Gold Star, Chili, Hard Rock Casino, Kroger's, Visit Cincy, the Urban League of Greater Southwest Ohio, Cincinnati Music Festival, and Cincinnati Black Travel Guide. We also had our national host, John Murray, who was the executive producer of the Sherry Shepherd Show, come back as the co-MC. Want to thank him as well. It's just so many people to thank. Damon Jones, definitely, just everyone that came out. Everybody looked so beautiful in their all-white attire. And I want to thank, we had a lot of national, international media, so there'll be articles coming out talking about the Walk of Fame. We are now one of the top 10 Black music monuments in the country. They named Motown, they named Prince Paisley Park, and they named the Cincinnati Black Music Walk of Fame, and this was entirely free, and it was great. We had groups come in from Chicago, Michigan. They bought buses and sprinters, and it was great. Want to thank the Kinley Hotel. So we certainly contributed to hotel motel tax, but Galen, the general manager, was just, everyone's bragging about how just great him and his staff were in accommodating and welcoming folks. So we just really want to thank everyone that attended and was a part of this. It was just a great thing. It was definitely a all hands on deck team effort, and also thank Mimi as well. We're at the Brady Center. In addition, coming up Saturday, August 15th, please put it on your calendar. If you are a veteran or if you served in the military or your family served in the military, we're having our third annual Hamilton County Veterans Appreciation Day. Maybe third annual. We were at Great American Ballpark the first year. That was great. Helped thousands of veterans. We were at Sawyer Point last year. That was great. Helped thousands of veterans. This year, we will be at TQL Stadium, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it's Hamilton County's Veterans Appreciation Day. This event is free. It's open to the public, and we will connect veterans and families with valuable resources, including veterans benefits, disability assistance, housing resources, and so much more. We are doing this, obviously, in partner with our Veterans Services Commission, and we have several organizations that we're partnering with: Hamilton County Recorder's Office, Disabled Veterans, Cincinnati VA Medical Center, the Veterans, of course, Veterans Service Commission, and so many more. However, this year, in honor of the 250, we're able to get some additional funding, and we are going to march from Washington Park. We will have a veterans parade, families, veterans. We will all march together from Washington Park, and we will proceed to the TQL Stadium. So veterans and families are encouraged to register through the Veterans Service Commission website. It's not mandatory, but if you could register, we would greatly appreciate it. But this one's gonna be, we won't be here for 250 more years. So all those who served our country, or you have parents that served our country or grandparents, join us as we gather at Washington Park and we walk and march together in the parade to the Hamilton County Veterans Appreciation Day, Saturday, August 15th. And then the 513 Relief Bus Back to School Resource Fair is also on August 15th. And that goes from 10 to 2 as well, I believe. And we will be at the Agape Love Ministries in partnership with the Cincinnati African American Firefighters Association, partnering with them. I've partnered with them before on book bags, and I told them, let's just bring it to the 513 Relief Bus, so there'll be book bags, but this will also be kicking off their international conference that they are bringing to town. So we'll have free book bags, school supplies, and physicals, birth certificates, immunizations, and any other resources needed for children to go back to school. I also participated with my colleagues on the groundbreaking of the headquarter hotel. And my message is, let's get it moving. Conventions are hard to get when you don't have a convention hotel. I know it firsthand. Those are the two things they want. They want space and they want a hotel. I don't care how beautiful anything is. If you don't have the space, you don't have the hotel, it's a prerequisite, like filling out an application. They say, if you don't have these three things, I don't care how great you are. If you don't have these three things, you cannot apply. So I'm glad that we're moving on that. And I want to officially also welcome the Omega Sci-Fi Convention that is coming to town. I do want to congratulate and thank Jackie Taggart-Boyd, who works for me now. Before then, she was the one that went down and pitched for the Omegas. She went to Tampa. They said we couldn't get it. And at that time, she went down there almost by herself because it looked like we couldn't get it. And she had done a lot of research. And that's why we have the biggest group registration, because where we're located here in Cincinnati, the biggest chapters are within drive distance. So now people can drive within 4 hours, that's what makes us so unique in Hamilton County. So they got their largest registration because now more Omegas can get here because of their larger chapters are nearby. But I want to give her a big shout out because a lot of times when we start stuff, and then at the end the person's not there when it actually happens, she also went down with her secret pound cakes. She has these pound cakes in honor of her grandmother. They're the best pound cakes. I don't want to say that because now everybody's going to want a pound cake here. Everybody's going to come to my office. Where's the pound cake? And she did these pound cakes, and she got the pound cakes from Cincinnati all the way to Tampa. And I mean, she was up against some of the biggest cities wanted us. And she had her data and all that. But she said when she looked in the audience, they were eating the pound cake. And she said, I know I got them now. And so now the Omegas, we want to officially welcome them to Hamilton County and Cincinnati, and certainly look forward to them having a great time. And right behind them will be the Cincinnati African American Firefighters International that's coming. So we had the Music Fest, the Omegas, the African American Firefighters. I mean, we're really doing it. So I'm super happy about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yes, thank you. Just a couple of things to report. I did attend the NACO conference. I represented the state of Ohio as the chair of the County Commissioners Association and learned a lot from the conference. We're all under strain, county commissioners throughout the country, and so a lot of information sharing, a lot of networking to figure out strategies for all of us to move forward successfully for our residents. So attended that conference. Also went to the headquarter hotel groundbreaking. You know, this is very important so that we can increase our revenues in the city of Cincinnati and in Hamilton County related to conventions, also related to the hotel motel tax. It's a 700 key facility. Portman Holdings is our partner here, along with the city of Cincinnati and 3CDC. So I was glad to attend that in partnership and looking forward to that coming out of the ground and then being available not only for people that come to the county, but people that live in this county. So very exciting, groundbreaking event. Also did a tour with Homebase in Northside, a walking tour of what's going on in that community related to community development. So it's some commercial, some residential, some of which has been in partnership with the county to provide some gap funding, particularly for the residential facilities in Northside. So I was very glad to attend that tour with many others that were going through the streets of Northside. I wanted to mention the Music Festival. So congratulations, Commissioner Reese, on a successful Black Music Walk of Fame event. The Music Festival was also very successful in drawing people from all over the country to Cincinnati for the annual music festival. It's been going on for almost 60 years. I wanted to shout out Joe Santangelo and Fran, who put this event on year after year, welcomed the community into the party. So lots of local participation, but also a great event for people all over the country to see how Cincinnati is shining in so many ways and welcoming them in. So it was a wonderful event. The weather was fantastic. So really grateful to the Santangelos for their persistence persistence in continuing to have this event every year in the city of Cincinnati. I went to the National Deflection Week cleanup in Camp Washington. This was an event, it ran all week. I was able to attend the walkthrough in Camp Washington, where we're cleaning up trash, cleaning up needles, engaging with the community, trying to understand what's happening on the ground in some of these communities, particularly related to those that suffer from addiction, and trying to connect with them and get them into treatment. So it's an annual event. Thank you to Megan Guthrie for helping organize this with the quick response team. So I was really glad to attend that on that Camp Washington Day. And then went to the Buddy LaRosa, the groundbreaking. He had a boxing facility in Over the Rhine. It is now moving to Elmwood Place. It is the perfect spot for the work that he's doing to give youth an opportunity to excel in boxing and really excel in life. I mean, it's so much more than boxing. He brings these kids in with his team. There is a gentleman, he is an Olympian, that is coaching the team, and it is this great partnership with Elmwood Place in an old vacant building there. I think it was a school, and so bringing that program to Elmwood Place, which will definitely benefit from that activity down in that location. So happy to celebrate through the groundbreaking for that as well. And then finally, and probably most importantly, Lila Foley, who has been my Director of Public Affairs, moved on, or is moving on. She is going to law school, which I want to celebrate because it's great for Lila. But she left my office. And so Lila, as many of you know, has been such a delight to work with, and really a great forward-facing person for my office to represent the office, to internally and externally. She just was a tremendous asset. She's a great person. She's a great, fun personality. So anyway, she's moving on to law school. I celebrate that with her. I wish her luck, of course. And also welcome Katie Sanchez, who is, I don't mean to embarrass you, but please stand up so people can see you. So Katie Sanchez is joining the Team Driehaus, the very small but mighty team of two. And so Katie comes to us from the United Way. We are delighted to have you here at the county. Welcome. I know you've been through your orientation, and I know Lila walked her around to the other offices, I believe, yesterday. So welcome to the team, Katie. We're thrilled to have you. And so, well, more to come on that, but glad you're here. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a few things, just a couple. The children, we had another children's services levy hearing. I think that makes a total 5, which is great. We wanted to do as a board to make sure that the people of Hamilton County had an opportunity to come in. Before I proceed on my report, Tony Ewing is online, would like to say a couple of things real quick for 2 minutes. She's been waiting. Yeah. Tony?
She should be there.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Oh, there it is.
I hear you just a little.
Okay, let me try to turn it up.
Okay, I hear you now. You have 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you guys for letting me talk. I am trying to bring about information that we are flooding in a whole bunch of different areas. On 618 and St. Bernard, we had a big flood. And then it's happened also, usually when we have it in Norwood and Bond Hill and Evanston. And I am just trying to find out, how do we go about making sure that all these communities are involved in the assessments when it comes to trying to fix the flooding and helping us financially to rebuild. In 2016, we had a very big one. We've had it in 2016, 2018, 2021, 2024, and 2026. I have 2 claims in right now for the 2024 and 2026 that I've not been paid for. So I'm constantly trying to rebuild, and so is other people in the neighborhood, trying to rebuild when another flood happens. And it is also very scary, for your family, for your neighbors, because if you walk out and then you're unaware that it's happening or whatever, that's lives that could be lost. So I'm trying to figure out, how can we meet, where's the additional, or is there any additional funding that we can receive somewhere to help us as well? I'm very happy that the other neighborhoods got it, and it happened very quickly, but we need help too. So that was really what I'm trying to find out. How are we going to update the infrastructure in those neighborhoods as well, and especially ours, because it keeps happening. You don't even get a chance to rebuild before it's happening again.
Thank you, Tony. It sounds, first of all, thank you for calling in. Sounds
No
like
problem.
you've already been proactive as it relates to putting in your claims. We as a board are also looking at equal opportunity as it relates to reimbursement for claims if they're appropriate. So our administration is working with MSD, the city. Several of them are working together to look at how we can best meet the needs of those who and meet the, that's okay. I got 2 minutes. How we can meet the needs of the people, because as you were saying, it's not just those areas that we heard about or read about, but there are other areas, and we have to make sure that we can't meet all the needs, and if people don't qualify, we can't help them either. But we are looking at that. I would confirm to you that our board is really concerned about making sure that people need help are being assessed to see who can get help. And possibly, as a county, we're looking at how we can work with the city to make that happen. Is she gone? Okay. You said, okay. All right, so I was hoping that she would stay on. I wanted to tell her. She's still on. So, Tony, did you hear everything we said?
here.
I don't have an answer for you that you would like to necessarily hear any specific answer, but let you know that it is a important focus for this board also. Okay?
Okay. Yes, thank you so much. And I will stay in contact with you guys, hopefully, to be able to follow along with this.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. So I'll get back to my report. Children's Service Levy, as I mentioned, we've had 5 hearings, and that was really on purpose to educate the public. And I think we've done that in several different ways. I also welcomed our new JFS director, who will be starting in mid-August, correct, Jeff? Okay. So he'll be on board to help out with and to lead JFS. As was mentioned earlier, we had the groundbreaking for our hotel. We improvised and had it at the First Financial because we didn't want to get too wet, and it worked out very, very well. And we're looking forward to the building of the Marriott. And then I attended the EMA Executive Committee meeting, as I said earlier, with Nick to look at not only the flooding, but other safety issues that are going on in the county. I attended the land bank meeting yesterday, or Tuesday, I should say, as we look at the land bank as building more houses, purchasing more property, but trying to make it as affordable as they can for those who are not in the upper echelon of salary, but they're working people who want to have a house. So they're working on that. I think it's going well. They're listening, going out and taking surveys from people within the community and what they may want. In addition, Commissioner Driehaus brought up about the addiction aspect that we cover, and Megan Guthrie was brought up earlier. The feds are here today looking at our program and how great it is and how we've come such a long way, and we're a model for other addiction programs. So they're here as we speak, looking and trying to get some information from us. I think lastly, I saw on television, of course, the Music Fest was great. The Walk of Fame turned out well, as it always does. So I was not at the Music Fest, I was at the Prayer Fest. And the Prayer Fest, I spent the whole weekend praying for Hamilton County because we have lots of trials that are coming forth in Hamilton County, and I know we can win those trials, we can beat those foes, and we can come out on top. Our funding, we're looking at now as it relates to the children's levy, but really even as our budget. So I know we'll be winners because we always have been.
Commissioner?
Yes,
I'm sorry, I forgot 2 things. One, because he types my notes, and he didn't put this in there, of course, I want to congratulate Veda Stevens, who has been selected as one of the Business Couriers 40 under 40. So I wanted to congratulate him. And Public Health, Tyler Minnock from Public Health is also one of our 40 under 40. Give him a round of applause. I would just ask Mr. Ludo, when you get to your comments, I wanted to see if we got an update regarding the Princeton versus Moeller football game. Princeton had reached out to my office about moving that game to Paycor, which I think is a great idea. And I know my colleagues also agreed. I know it was in the hands of the Bengals and the school getting it together, but the game is in August, and we're about to be in August. I guess the next time we see each other, it'll be August. So if you can give an update on where are we with Princeton versus Moeller, and then also I saw that the 513 relief bus was down, some maintenance issues. I wasn't aware of it, but just kind of an update. Is that something? Because we've got people saying we're canceling. The bus is not canceling. So we need to have a better messaging. But they said some maintenance issues, and if we can get an update on that, and when will it be back and going? So those are the two things I wanted to make sure Mr. Ludo can help update us. Thank you.
Thank you. And we did not get the 40, under 40 award, but we got 100. We were one of the
Not even close. Come on.
100 influential in the region. So
Maybe
all right.
maybe the over 50. Oh yeah, maybe the over 50.
That's about 50 years ago. No. Okay. Jeff.
Thanks, Commissioners. I'll provide some comments to some of the questions here in just a second. I do have a couple of by-leave items first. The first is the appointment of the Catherine Sanchez to the Office of County Commissioners is under the Driehaus office. So, Commissioner, I didn't know if you wanted to take that specific item.
Yeah, with your deference, Commissioners, I've already mentioned that Katie is coming to the office. This is the resolution that allows that to happen.
And what is her position?
She is the Director of Public Affairs.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Do
So
you have,
I'll make a motion to approve.
well, it might be,
that
she
right?
may want to
sorry.
discuss.
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to move that we approve of by leave one.
Second.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioners. Item number 2, by leave 2, is also an appointment. Madam President, I don't know if you wanted
Yes,
to take that
I
one.
will take that one because we're working very hard as a board to try to fill these board positions. And this is a resolution reappointing 3 members to the Economic and Community Support Advisory Council, Randy Berlew, Michelle Starr, and Brian Wright. Any discussion?
No.
Thank them for their service.
Thank you.
Okay. I make a motion.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Thank you.
It's all right.
Thank you, Commissioners. By leave number 3, this is Resolution P140-26. This is an amendment to the Master Services Purchasing Agreement with Axon Enterprises and the Commissioners through the Prosecutor's Office. This is actually an amendment to the initial agreement that was signed related to the handling of data and essentially digitizing a lot of processes over in the prosecutor's office. This is an amendment to add a higher level of service to this agreement, which will help the prosecutor's office better handle electronic and digital data, which is, as the board is aware, very important in a lot of the cases that the prosecutor's office handles. So it's an 11-year agreement. It adds a total of $956,000 to the contract. I believe that starts at that is annualized at about $65,000 a year in year 1, which then increases over that time period. This was forwarded to the administration. I believe Steve Simon is here from the prosecutor's office to answer any questions that the board may have. So if there are questions, I would turn things over to Mr. Simon if there are.
Thank you very much. Vice President Reese, did you have any questions
I just had one question.
for Steve?
Probably for Jeff.
Okay.
But it might be Steve, but I always direct them to Jeff. That's why. You said this is amendment. This is already within the budget we've already.
So the contract has already been, the initial contract has been approved. Okay. So, but this is in addition to that. So the $65,000 additional for this year would be additional. I'll defer to Mr. Simon for any correction to that. But obviously, from a budgetary perspective, what we would typically do with departments is ask that they internalize that additional expenditure and that it not be seen as something that would come back in later on for a supplemental. At this level, 65,000, we would hope that that could happen. But I'll defer again to Mr. Simon on any.
Yeah, I'm sorry if there's any confusion about it being characterized as an 11-year contract. It's our contract team wanted to make sure it was characterized as 11 years, even though Axon is actually just asking us for an additional 10 years starting this year. But because we already started it last year and paid $218,000, we wanted to make sure the board had a full picture of the total dollars that you'll be spending starting last year now through 2036. As county administrator said, it is, I think that's right, around 65,000 extra a year. It's something like a 30% increase because we're getting this enhanced product. Digital evidence is just overwhelming in criminal cases, and the person hours that are spent looking at video, listening to cell phone calls, the storage of calls, and Axon allows us to much more efficiently review this evidence, organize it, store it. So we're all very excited about it. It does come with a price tag, and even though this is an amendment, because of the increased dollar amount, we wanted to make sure it came before the board.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yeah, I just to put a finer point on it. So this addition, by way of the product, will increase efficiency in the
Yes.
prosecutor's office? Just want to kind of tie the expense into the efficiencies that we'll see.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, understood. It's, and I must say, since I'm chief of the civil division, we're also excited, even though the main focus is the criminal division, we are overwhelmed by the amount of public record requests we get for the same kind of video that we then have to review, and it will make it very easy, much easier for our civil team as well as to process, like I say, the overwhelming amount of public record requests that come in. So added efficiency to be sure.
Yep, thank you.
And my only concern was the length of the agreement. And we've already put the money forth. It's just an additional money. And I'm thinking as technology changes, are you able to negotiate anything different other than the 11-year or not?
Right. Well, our technical people thought that, look, this is an excellent product. At least as we look at the horizon the next few years, we don't see something new that's going to totally alter the landscape for this review of digital evidence. So we're very comfortable with making the commitment. Is it true? Can technology change in 4 or 5 years? Well, at that point, we would expect Axon will offer us something different, and we renegotiate the contract at that point.
Okay, thank you so much. I'd like to make a motion to adopt by leave 3.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners, and do just want to thank Steve. It's not often the chief of the civil division comes over to present a contract, and I think it just speaks to the relationship that we have between the administration, the board, and the civil division, that they recognize the importance of these expenditures to the county, and that Steve came over to help the board understand it. So
Very
thank you.
nice to say, Mr. Aludo. If I had monitored my emails a little more closely yesterday, I might have been able to provide the information otherwise. Draw back the curtain just a little bit, but thanks very much.
She looks pretty good sitting in your seat, doesn't she? Okay. Okay, there you go. Okay. All right, Jeff.
Thank you, commissioners. So we also have by leaves 4 through 8, and I'm going to defer to Christy. I don't know if these are on the printed agenda at this point. They are. Okay, good. I know we were having some electronic problems this morning. So we have by leaves 4 through 8. These are additional auditor certifications for Children's Services Levy consideration based upon the input that we received on Tuesday. So we have 5 of these additional. I want to make it very clear to anyone watching at home what these are not voting to put something on the ballot, but these provide the board with options for consideration for what we anticipate would be formal consideration at a special meeting on Monday, August 3rd, to decide what to put on the ballot. But these are what we gleaned and discerned from Tuesday's meeting. We have 5 additional options. The first 2, by leaves 4 and 5, are 10% increases in the levy revenue. The by leave 4 is over 2 years. By leave 5 is 10% over 4 years. By leave 6 is a 20% increase to levy revenue over 2 years. By leave 7 is a 20% increase to levy revenue over 4 years. and by leave 8 is the 116 million option run over 4 years. So those are 5 additional options that the board has for consideration. We can provide some more detailed analysis as requested in advance of the board's formal consideration on Monday, but offer these for the board's consideration today for forwarding to the office to get these formally certified for resolutions for Monday.
Thank you, Jeff.
Commissioner?
Appreciate it. Vice President Reese.
Just point of clarification, 7 and 8, what's the percentage on those? Increase percentage?
So, 7 is 20%. If you don't mind, just for clarification, I'll read through them again quickly, just so that.
Yeah.
So, by leave 4 is a 10% increase over 2 years. By leave 5 is a 10% increase. By leave 4 is a 10% increase over 2 years. By leave 5 is a 10% increase over 4 years. By leave 6 is a 20% increase over 2 years. By leave 7 is a 20% increase over a year over 4 years. And by leave 8 is the old 116 million option, which the board previously certified for 2 years. This is now being certified for 4 years. I believe that is a 39% option, Commissioner.
Okay, and then when you say over, which is it 10, or will it
Good
keep
question.
going up?
I
10,
caught myself at the end. No, so it's 20 those percentages annually. So it's not 10% spread out over the 4 years. It's
Right.
10% each year.
Yeah, but not increase. It was like you got 10%
It's a 10%
1 year,
increase in the
it's
revenue.
still 10%, or is it 10 and then 20? Just want to make sure.
Yeah, it's the same level of revenue each year.
Each year.
So, but Lisa,
That was the levies are sized to bring in the set level of revenue over the course of those 5 years. There may be subtle changes due to new construction and things like that, but the auditor is sizing it for a flat amount of revenue each year. And regardless of property taxes, the county would bring in roughly that same amount of revenue each year. Or regardless of property values, excuse me.
so it would go up 10% in the first year, and it would stay that level.
That's what I
Yes,
wanted to.
it'll stay that level.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Okay, so first of all, let me just say that, of course, we have to make a final decision. It's not today, but we made progress from Tuesday because 10% was not in the cards. And so I want to thank you all for that. I want to say that I think it's very important as we go into making this decision. It's very important. My belief, and the belief I'm hearing from the people that voted for me, which is 218,000 of them, the belief was they have a problem with property taxes rising. They're getting squeezed. You can go to the gas station, they're getting squeezed. Go to the grocery store, they're getting squeezed. My 2 neighbors are seniors who own their homes. I couldn't even get out the driveway today before they stopped me and said, we're getting squeezed. And so at the same time, we support our children. This county has always been supportive of our children. I do think, and we'll see it today, even on this agenda today, there is a mixed messaging that when it comes to stadiums and billionaires, we tend to get creative and we fund them long-term and we put it together where they never got to really come back to the voters. But when it comes to our children, we say we want to do stuff for our children, we love them, but then we put the burden on the homeowners who are already struggling. And so what I really wanted to do was switch it to where the luxuries, which is, I love sports. I'm a huge sports fan. Where the luxuries would go to the ballot and the necessities, our children would be funded. And so it was a different idea, different approach, but different doesn't mean that it's wrong. doesn't mean that it's wrong if we're trying to do something different. Now, after people read in the paper, I had several lawyers that contacted me and said that that fund that was voted in the 90s for stadiums, they take one vote and fund it for life. Children, every few years, we got to come back, save the kids, but they're for life, and the kids are up in the air. So when I said use that fund, stadium fund, it wasn't to use all of it, but to use a percentage of it to try to buy down the amount that the homeowner would have to pay. So I'm trying to have a win-win, what I learned when I interned at Procter & Gamble. How do you come out with a win for the children? And at the same time, we've got these stadiums. Well, several lawyers reached out to me, and there was a word used called primarily in the memo that I received from Mr. Ludo, and it made the paper. It said primarily. You can't use a keyword. They said it was primarily. No, I'm not saying it's going to all of it be used for that. But they said because of primarily, that means that it does open up for even a portion. Even Willie Cunningham said that. He's a lawyer. That opens up a portion can be used because of the word primarily. Primary use, yes, for stadiums, but that doesn't mean a portion can't be used for something else. So whenever I run up there, every time we get to this about the homeowners getting a break, it gets real hot and heavy. There's an attitude of we can't do it. Since I got here in 21, I came here to reduce the costs on the homeowners. That's what they sent me down here for. I came here to get the 30% that was promised to the homeowners because they wasn't getting it when they went to the ballot. That's what they sent me down here for. So every time I bring it up, it seems to be a tone of anger. Whenever I come with the homeowners, there's anger. So yes, I've got to leave out because it's not what the people elected me to do. They elected me to come down here and fight. They're not happy that their property taxes are going up. They're not happy that we had a chance to give a 30%, and we didn't in this last one, but I do want to thank my colleagues. I did get it done twice since I've been here. But this new lease says no way we get to 30. Now we come with the children. I said, well, wait a minute. Let's try to buy down the amount by getting some of it from here. So I would say one major progress today, and I'm thankful of it, is that at least the 10% is going to be on the table to look at. However, how we pay for it, I think needs to be established before we vote. It needs to be established how we're going to pay for it. And I've come up with a way that can help keep the cost down. No, don't take all the stadium money, I know that, but we can take a portion. Now, today we got something on the ballot going to deal with $600 million and all that. It just sends a bad tone that when it comes to the stadiums, everybody is all hands on deck, calculators working, bond counsel saying we can do it. Maybe we need a different bond counsel company. Maybe we don't need to do the same people. Because we need some new creative ways to put the taxpayers first. We need a new creative way to put the homeowners first. We can't keep putting them last and then say, well, we can't do nothing. Cost is going up. Their cost is going up in their own house. And they unfortunately can't tax nobody to get the money. Duke Energy say you either pay or you get cut off. Kroger say you either pay or you don't get the meat and you don't get the eggs. Property tax, there's one, you get two payment arrangements, you don't have it by then, you go into foreclosure, and then your land goes to the land bank that don't pay no taxes with the Port Authority, and they just hold your land, but you don't get a break. So I don't care what color you are, what party you are, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing it in the urban and the suburban areas. And I'm trying to have a win for the children. But we can't send a message that the billionaires don't have to go to the taxpayers, and all of our folks are full-time making sure we can do it and we can make it, and they happy and they ain't mad at us. And then as soon as I say for the homeowners, oh man, anger, disrespect. No, I'm not gonna stay in here for that. I'm walking out. You must be out of your mind, because 218,000 people voted for me. I'm not coming here for me personally. I'm coming for the people that sent me here. So we shouldn't have where the children have to be in limbo and the billionaires are guaranteed. So that's why I was looking at, let's look at everything. Some things we're gonna have to do different. Can't do it. Oh, we've been doing this for 35 years. It ain't working. So I want to, again, I think it was a progress from Tuesday to today. 10% is now on the table. It wasn't on the table Tuesday. It's on the table. And so I appreciate it, and I appreciate Commissioner Dumas, whether she goes with it or not, she did say, let's get it all on the table. So that was progress. So they want to know, I'm always going to walk out when you disrespect the voters. Lisa Reed's going to walk out that door. When you want to respect the voters, we'll be in here. I ain't walking out at a meeting. I'm walking out on the disrespect. So I want to thank the administration. I want to thank Jeff and whoever you had to get with your team. We now have a 10% option that we can at least consider. But I would like to know on all of these how we're going to pay, and I want us to definitely look into the stadium fund. Not all of it, but a portion. Everybody must do their part. You asking the homeowners to do their part? Everybody in this county should roll up their sleeves and do their part. And lastly, to the nonprofits who have done an amazing job, you too gonna have to take some cuts because we're just in a tight situation. How did we get here? An unfunded mandate by the state government and the federal government. That's who messed us up. They gave us a mandate and didn't give us any money. And we'll continue to fight for that. Commissioner Dumas said the feds are here and they're looking at what, bring your checkbook when you come. Don't just look at what we're doing. We need some money. I wish I could meet with them. I want to know, where is the budget? Don't come here taking pictures and smile. We need you to come and put some money on the table. So those are my things, and I think the governor should help us. And I'm going to continue to fight for those things. But again, I do appreciate today, progress has been made from Tuesday to today, that we now have at least a 10% option on the table. And hopefully the economy will change or something will change that will help us get more funding that we will need to move forward. So again, thank you to my colleagues, thank you to the administration, and looking forward to continue discussion. Thank you.
Thanks. Commissioner Dreehouse.
Thank you. And thank you, Jeff, for putting these forward. We have all had opportunities to present ideas about how much we think an increase should be related to the Children's Services Levy. And so I think we've got maybe, 15 options now in front of us. So a very robust group of options. We've never had so many. But I think it's important that we do have those options and that all of our thoughts are represented in what will be in front of us on Monday. So happy to support all 5 of these. I want to support a levy that is as low as we can go for the taxpayers, but still funds basic mandated services to keep kids safe and to help them thrive in this community. And so that's why I have offered the 39%, which is about half of what was recommended through the Tax Levy Review Committee. So, and I want to thank them again for their work. Their increase was closer to a 75%. And so we were looking at increases that are lower than that. The key there is that we are looking at other funding sources to make up the difference, because we know we've got mandated services that have to be provided in this community, and that's where the TLRC was. But we are, and the administrator has given us some ideas about how we would fill the gap between what was recommended, what we know we need, and what we are going to rely on through the property tax, knowing that homeowners are strained, and so trying to come in as low as we can go with for the homeowners. And so we have not done this in the past. This is a new approach. I appreciate the creativity that's been shown both by my colleagues and by the administrator to start to look at different ways to fund children's services. And I think we need to have a broader conversation after Monday about all of our levies. We've got 7 levies that we have authority over, that we have control over, and we need to think about restructuring all 7 so that we live in this new reality of challenging, a challenging climate for property taxes, yet needs in our community that need to be addressed, many of which are mandated. And so that's the position we find ourselves in, and I am looking forward to ongoing conversations about that. On Monday, we'll be talking about just the piece that will go before the voters, but we need to have continuing conversations about how we think about filling that gap if we go lower than what has been recommended to us. I want to say that I am trying to evaluate what we're hearing from people, both by way of property taxes and the strain on homeowners, also the support in this community for children's services. We had 3 public hearings. We had over 60 people testify in favor of the Children's Services Levy and the work that they are doing. We heard a lot of stories from foster parents and kids that have been impacted by the services that we provide. And so I think we need to take that into account as well. They took time out of their days to come and testify in front of us. The TLRC had 2 other hearings where there were also people coming in to talk about the need for these services. And so I am cognizant of this community wanting to provide robust services for kids to keep them safe, and to try to, if we can, talk about some things that are essential but maybe not mandated. And what jumps to mind is the program that we have for kids that are aging out of the system. They're 18 and over, and they need some stability. They need some support by way of housing, employment, transportation. And so we need to, I think about that. We heard from quite a few of these young people. I've heard from them personally, talking about how important it was to have that kind of support so they didn't end up on the streets. Because we're going to pay for this one way or the other, and I would prefer to provide some stability to these young people. So it's just something that is part of the thought process as we think through how we approach this important levy. And I've said, and I will continue to say over my 9 years here, this is the most important levy that I think we have, and one of the most important things that we will decide upon as a county commission. And I do take that very seriously. And I want to listen to the folks that are in support of the increase. I want to listen to the homeowners and try to balance those 2 things while being creative as a county to look at other ways to fund some of the services that we're talking about. The other piece that I think is important to note, and we've talked about it a little bit, but maybe not enough, is that we've got a new director coming to JFS. And so in my interview with the new director, he talked about efficiencies and about how we can lower the cost of what we're providing. We still provide the services, but at a lower cost because there are efficiencies that can be derived there. And so primarily related to kinship care. And so I want to explore those efficiencies with the new director. I know John Nelson is here and has done a fantastic job and has also been thinking through efficiencies. How we had a long list. I think there were 8 items that John and the team had put together by way of how we can try to reduce cost. And we've already cut $36 million out of the children's services. And so there's more to be done there, but I do think the new director will be part of that conversation. in conjunction with John Nelson and the rest of the team, to be very aggressive about those efficiencies moving forward. And so I do think we will have some success there, and hopefully that changes the conversation in the long term about how much is needed by way of the levies, but also this gap funding that we've been talking about. So I support all 5 of these. These are opportunities for us to think about for the final vote on Monday. And so I am grateful that they're all on here and that all thoughts are represented, and we'll have a robust set of options to think through before the vote on Monday. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a couple things. I want to thank administration, the auditor, and also TLRC for all their hard work. We have, as you were saying, lots of options both of you have talked about, but I'm really happy that we have listened to all our colleagues, Jeff, and put everything in, and auditor put everything in for consideration. For me, I'm looking at the lowest amount we can do for a levy, and not deplete. Of course, we won't deplete, but our general fund, where we can get another pot of funding to supplement what we need for these babies. Right now, I'm not going to belabor it. I'm glad that we put them all on here. Of course, I've looked at what I'm most in favor of, but we have to educate the people that are listening, the people that are out in the community. But one thing I want to say as far as property owners, I am one, and I love property owners, so I'm not angry with any property owners, and we try to do what we can do. I'll just speak for me, what I can do for property owners as much as possible, because the increase in assessments also impacted me. So, and I wanted to make a clarification as far as, and this is not related to that, but it was brought up about the feds being here. I will acknowledge that the feds have given us millions and millions as it relates to our addiction program, and that's why they're here. We're not only good, but they've given us lots of money. So I guess maybe lastly, I'd like to say, without a levy, you can forget it. The children will not have what they need. We need a levy. We need to provide the services appropriate for these young people. People are listening as I speak, as we speak, and they are confused. They're confused, not just because of all these options, but they don't know, should they approve a levy or not? Is there money somewhere else that they can get and they're not wanting to tap in? And we have to be the voice of unity. We have to express to the people in the community, this is a necessity. This is not something that we're just thinking about doing. We can, if this does not pass, it will be a tragedy for not only the children, but also for Hamilton County, because then we have to take money out of our general fund to supplement. So it definitely needs to pass. It definitely needs to be at a level that we're trying. Let me stop saying we, I keep thinking, but I'm trying to make sure that the people in Hamilton County can pay the least amount of money to make this happen, to make this levy happen, because we are thinking about you. We are thinking about your other responsibilities that you have and what you're having to pay. I'm thinking about that, and that's how I'm going to make my decision on Monday. I know some of these options will not even touch the surface of what we need to do for JFS. So I think I'll leave it at that and make a motion.
Can I ask a question before you motion? CPS, we had brought it up in the last meeting. Where are we with that? Because, you know, when we do this, we're not in a vacuum by ourselves, because they're arguing the case too, that the children need the CPS money. Do we know what, is that going on? Even though it might be income tax, it's still cutting your check short. Do we know that, Jeff, or any updates? I know we don't control
Commissioner,
it.
yeah, right. I know probably what you know from reading the media on
passed
this,
it,
that they passed the earned income tax supplement, but that there was some media, I saw some media this morning about potential reconsideration of that. So that's, I know what you know and what has been reported in the media on that, unless commissioners have had any more detailed conversations with representatives from CPS.
Okay. So if they were to reconsider that, are they looking at a property replacement, or do you know anything?
I think that was the other option that they were considering, but I don't know whether that's something they would consider, whether you consider a different time frame for that, whether it would be in perhaps not this year, but next year. I've tapped the limits of what I can say about it at this
Gotcha.
point. So.
Yeah, I think for me, just that needs to, if we could find that out, that also for me affects where we move with this, because then you've got two groups saying we're helping the children. And at the end, people only got one pocketbook. It's not like, oh, I've got a pocketbook for Hamilton County, I got a pocketbook for CPS. So for me, just keeping those in mind, I think is important too. So thank you.
And I brought that up about a month ago about the Cincinnati Public. We're at a quagmire because now we're having our residents say, which children do we support? Do we, do we JFS or CPS? And the fact that we have to even look at that possible decision is not a good one. Yeah, Commissioner
Madam
Driehaus.
President, yes, thank you. And I just wanted to pile on a little bit. I do think, and as we've all discussed, what's in front of us right now, but also the long-term conversations around levies in the community, whether it's the city of Cincinnati, whether it's the outlying communities, whether it's CPS or ourselves, we have a lot of pressure on this community. And Commissioner Reese said, look, the state is not providing adequate funding for children's services. We're the second last in the country when it comes to funding for children's services. We do not have a reliable partner at the state, and the schools are in the same situation. And the local government fund puts the city in the same situation. So here we are, all suffering from inadequate partnership with the state, as we've talked about many times. And so the pressure then is on local property taxes and local income taxes. And it's so frustrating, but I do think there's an opportunity to think more collectively with the school districts, and it's not just CPS, it's other school districts as well in the county and the jurisdictions, to think through maybe a more strategic approach moving forward as we find ourselves under this pressure situation to provide services in this community that are essential to keep kids safe, to educate kids, to provide safety services. And maybe there's a conversation to be had, a collective conversation about moving forward. I know that doesn't help us much before the meeting on Monday, where we have to make a decision related to the Children's Services Levy. But I have talked enough to other jurisdictions to know that we're all under pressure, and we should have a collective conversation about what these impacts are when we do something, when the CPS does something, and how that all impacts collectively one another. So I just wanted to pile on, because I think it's the right idea that we talk to one another as we continue down this road.
Thank you. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adopt by 4 through 8.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas,
Yes.
Commissioner Reese.
Yes.
Commissioner Driehaus.
Yes?
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. And just very quickly, in terms of comments, there were a couple of questions during the Commissioners' comments. As it relates to the 513 bus, I understand that there was an issue with an overheated generator on that I think it's been fixed, so it'll be ready to roll out for events next week.
Right.
And then on the Princeton-Muller game, the last information I have on that was that it was still in planning. I know that the prosecutor's office was going back and forth with counsel at the Bengals, just exchanging the documents that we need to do to prepare legally for that, but I will touch base with the team today and just affirm that and get something back to the board today on it.
Thank you.
What's the date of the game? August what?
Last I think it was the 13th, perhaps, but let me check
Okay.
on that. Just
Early August, though.
Okay.
yeah, it was early mid-August, right?
Great.
A week.
We'll move on to our regular agenda, the engineer's office. Welcome, Eric.
Good morning. I would like to comment on what you've been talking about. It's refreshing that you are looking at new ways to get things funded, because Ohio's been around for a long time. The funding mechanisms just don't work. I just want to go on record so that everybody understands that no money for the county engineer's office comes out of the general fund. It's all restricted, and it's also tight, and we need to come up with a new way to fund that as well. So I appreciate what you are doing on these matters.
Thank you.
Just two items today. Item number one is the bid award for the Fields Erdel Road intersection improvements at Fields Erdel McCauley and Fields Erdel Conray. This is located in Sycamore Township and also portions in the city of Sharonville. We opened bids on May 14th. The low bidder was Barrett Paving at $8,810,177. This is a project where I'm very proud of my staff. We've been able to leverage our money very well on this project. We were able to obtain an OKI STBG grant in the amount of $5,427,924 and an Ohio Public Works Commission grant in the amount of $1,678,923. So that leaves the balance of $1,255,000 and change coming out of Permissive Auto, and City of Sharonville has $627,000. So we've really leveraged our money, worked hard to get this project funded. This has an estimated construction completion date of September of next year. Item number two is a resolution for the Berkshire Road Bridge replacement. This will allow us to take this bridge project out for bid. This is located in Anderson Township. We would like to have a bid opening date of August 27th. Our engineer's estimate is $1,661,000. We also were able to leverage our money on this one, and we got an Ohio Public Works grant for $1,467,000. So the remaining 10% would come out of the Permissive Auto Fund with a completion date of August of next year.
Thank you. Vice President Reese?
No additional questions, but you reminded me, Fields Erdel is like a long.
That reminded me too when I got this item, yes.
Every week is Fields, but Fields Erdel, you remind us, is a very.
Yes. Yeah, it's a long stretch and it runs along the county line. Actually, the county line of Warren County is the center line of the road. So the north side of the pavement is Warren County, the south side is Hamilton County. And we are working basically on all the intersections starting at 71, working to the west.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have no questions.
Okay, that was my question. How long was it? So you answered it. So I'd like to make a motion to pass items 1 and 2.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next items, MSD. Hi, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Item 3 is a resolution to approve MSD's sponsorship of the Mill Creek Alliance's 2 Lowhead Dam mitigation projects through the State Revolving Loan Fund's Water Resource Restoration Sponsorship Program. This program allows MSD to sponsor water resource restoration projects through our project loan, and the interest that we'll be paying anyway will be advanced to the implementer, in this case Mill Creek Alliance, to carry out their project, and they don't need to repay that amount. So this is a $0 request, although it's a sponsorship. It costs us nothing additional. As I said, it's interest that we're paying anyway, and it actually provides a discount of 0.1% on our project loan. In addition to the environmental benefits of the project itself, which will further improve water quality in the Mill Creek by restoring flow, to improve sediment transport, wildlife habitat, and nutrient reduction. So really a win all around, and we recommend approval. Moving on to items 4 and 5, which are similar, so I'll cover those together. These are our 2 large WIP Phase 2B projects that are in construction right now. Item 4 is for the Mill Creek Plant High Rate Treatment Pump Station, and item 5 is the Little Miami Plant Solids Disposal and Odor Control Project. These are both requests for additional construction phase funding to fund federal Davis-Bacon wage requirements, and for the Little Miami project, ongoing construction phase services provided by the owner's advisor as well. There was a prevailing wage rate change after the board approved and appropriated construction funding for these projects, but just before the execution of the contract amendments. So those changes do apply to these projects, and it's just based on the sequence of events as I've just described them that we're coming back and asking for funding now. So for the Mill Creek Pump Station, we're requesting $1,107,604.71. And for the Little Miami Solids, we're requesting $3,965,529. About 1.3 of that is for prevailing wage, and about 1.3 million, and about 2.7 million is for construction services, which that portion of it was included in our approved 2026 CIP. We recommend approval. Item 6 is related to MSD, but I believe will be covered by John Brugan, so I can pause here for questions on those 3, or happy to turn it over to him.
Why don't we turn it over to him? We could, yeah. Yeah, coming up, John. Yeah.
Thanks, Lauren. Item number 6 is the annual special assessment issuance for improvements on private property. We sell $200,000 worth of bonds to our treasurer, and the repayment will come on the special assessments on the property tax duplicate to those owners.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Vice President Reese?
No questions.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes, thank you. On item number 3, for the partnership with the Mill Creek Alliance, maybe you said this and I missed it. How much is going to the Mill Creek Alliance for the work that they are going to do?
I don't know that amount off the top of my head. It's a certain percentage of our project, so I don't know that number off the top of my head. I can certainly provide it.
Okay, I mean, Mill Creek Alliance is a fantastic partner.
Yes.
And they're doing all kinds of great work to reclaim the Mill Creek. And so I am 100% supportive of this. I am just curious as to what that dollar amount is. So if you could get that to my office, I would be greatly grateful for it.
Absolutely.
And I'm grateful to the Mill Creek Alliance for being in partnership. They, as I said, doing all this water quality work, and it's really amazing. I've canoed there a few times, so it's good stuff.
They weren't able to be here today, but in all their communications, they're very thankful for the collaboration with the board and MSD and our support. I mean,
it's great to have those kind of community partners. We're very lucky to have them. And then the other one, the 4 and 5, I have been involved in some of the conversations related to prevailing wage on these. Thank you to MSD for making this adjustment. It's, for whatever reason, slipped through the cracks and was not put out as a prevailing wage project, which is not how we operate. And so I'm grateful that MSD was able to make the adjustment, and that that change is showing up here on our agenda. So thank you for that. This item 5 talks about odor control. It reminds me, because this is the Little Miami.
Correct.
It reminds me of the odor control projects that we have done in Lower Price Hill. And are those finished, those projects, do you know?
Deputy Director Ryan Welsh is with me today, so I'm going to turn that question over to him.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, all the projects are finished except for the odor control associated with the Mill Creek dewatering facility, which is one of our Phase 2B projects. Just now, about to start design. We'll start construction here in a couple of years. So that's the final of those suite of odor control projects that we talked about years ago.
Okay, I have not received any complaints lately, so good work on
That's a good
the
thing.
odor control and Lower Price Hill. I used to get these calls like every week, and I haven't gotten any in I don't know how long. So I assumed a lot, but I'm grateful to know the update
Yeah,
so fast. I can. Yeah,
That's great to hear. We have our quarterly meeting with the Price Hill community, our CAP meeting. So we keep them updated on progress as well.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That's great, thank you. Okay, I make a motion to adopt items 3 through 6.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Hello, item 7.
Item 7 is the authorizing resolution to issue an amount not to exceed $600 million for financing of Paycor Stadium Improvement Project bonds and to defease certain prior bonds. So the big trick here is that sticker shock on 600, because what we entered into a contract last year was 350, not to exceed 350. So why are we asking for not to exceed 600 here? 2 elements. The first element is my bond team is very good about making sure they throw in everything that could possibly happen between 2 weeks ago and when these bonds sell in mid-August to make sure that the not to exceed is everything that could possibly happen, because we don't want to get to a bond sale and realize, oh gosh, they didn't authorize enough and we're short. So a lot of that 600 is speculative of things that we have learned in the last 2 weeks are not going to happen. So the number that I'm hearing right now today from them is probably, we're still safer voting on not to exceed 600, but the actual number I'm hearing as an estimate today is about 460. So substantially lower than the 600 that is before you today. The reason it's higher than the 350 is because we have layered on this refinancing of our 2016 bonds. So we're doing a refinancing for savings of existing bonds from 2016 that have a call in 2026. So we're actually seeing about a $6 million savings by doing that refunding at the same time that we're doing the issuance of the 350.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a new word for me, defease. Does that mean take fees away or anything? What does defease mean?
Oh, it's something like that, yeah. Defease is basically to eliminate those bonds, to pay off those bonds.
Okay.
And we're issuing a refunding series and paying off the old
I
series.
knew it meant takeaways. All right, Vice President Reese.
Okay, so we are selling, is that what we're doing? Selling bonds?
That's correct.
Okay, and we're selling those bonds. Once we sell them, what are we doing with the money?
Those dollars are funding the commitment of $350 million worth of capital projects for the stadium.
Gotcha. So we're selling other bonds that we have to fund this project, or bonds that we already had or something?
Well, we are replacing the notes that we issued last year for the first tranche of work there. So we're taking those out, issuing a total of $350 for that commitment, and that $350 goes into the project fund to fund the projects at Paycor Stadium.
Gotcha. And then the savings that you mentioned, like if we get $6 million savings, what do we do with those savings? Is that
the savings gets rolled into whenever we do when we do a refunding at the same time as a new issuance, we roll those dollars all together. So basically, we're having to issue $6 million less toward the $350 because we have the savings that we're applying there.
Gotcha. Okay, but it's nothing like we can do with that.
No, it's not cash.
It's still in the. It's still in the project.
Yeah, there's no cash coming back to us at the end of this, except to fund the project.
Gotcha.
And it's for the same purpose.
Exactly.
Same pot. Yeah.
Ultimately, it's saving dollars longer term in that fund, in the sales tax fund.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yeah, no, thank you. That was my question. I know we've capped our liability at 350. I see the 600, so you explained the difference here. I remember maybe when I first got here, this idea that it was right before I got here, this refinancing piece. So I am glad that we're always looking if we can save money, bring money back to this project through refinancing that we do it. And you're obviously taking a look at that here, and the $6 million is a reflection of that. So yeah, it's just important that we continue to look at these things to try to save as much money as possible there. So appreciate the explanation. It's very helpful.
A little bit of a milestone here. This is the last refunding that we will be doing related to the initial construction bonds. At this point, everything moves forward to 2032, and we'll get paid off then. So.
Great.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks, John. Yes.
And I know that I usually second, probably you all will second. I'm going to abstain on this today. Just going back to my earlier comments today, just the messaging is not good for me. And we're still looking at, can we possibly do something in this fund? So I'll just have to abstain today till I can get more information as I'm trying to consider what's going on with the children's levy. So I'll have to.
Okay. I make a motion to adopt item 7.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Abstain.
Thank you. We'll move on to consent agenda items.
Thank you, Commissioners. So consent agenda, the consent agenda begins on item 8. Item 8 is a budget adjustment number 27 for state grants. This is a human trafficking grant in juvenile court and a transfer within the girls' court. Appropriation in juvenile court for with a total of $74,999. Item number 9 is authorizing the annual information statement for Hamilton County for the year ending 12/31/25. This is essentially a financial report required by the Security Exchange Commission related to financial information of the county for bond investors. Item number 10 is a resolution accepting sales tax for Hamilton County Environmental Services in the amount of $15.60. Item number 11 is a resolution authorizing a then and now for the Veteran Services Commission of $2,963. Item 12 is a resolution accepting purchase orders of Hamilton County in the amount of $541,686. This relates to software support in the auditor's office, some office improvements in the sheriff's office, and a new compressor at the coroner's office. Item 13, Commissioners, is a resolution approving and authorizing the filing of the program year 2026 annual action plan for community development. There were 2 public hearings held on this, but this approves the annual action plan related to our CDBG home and ESG grants. Item 14 is a resolution authorizing an economic impact grant with the city of Sharonville in the amount of $350,000. I'm going to pause briefly here, Commissioners, because I know David McCandless, the Economic Development Director from Sharonville, is here. So I didn't know if you wanted to pause in the agenda and see if Mr. McCandless wanted to provide any comment on. I know that Sharonville has a lot of stuff going on in the downtown loop, and you don't have to say anything.
That would be great. Yeah.
If you wanted to.
Mr. Ludo. It's a great opportunity to be here today. Primarily just wanted to kind of high level discuss our project, but more importantly, express our gratitude. You know, as we've heard this morning, there are a lot of needs out there. So please know as a community, we really appreciate it. Just kind of high level detail, the project site has kind of been a thorn in the city side for about 8 years now. It's a blighted bank property, really at the entryway to our downtown. It's the first thing you see. Historically, before that, just knowing Reading Road being Reading Road, of course, there was a fueling station there. So there's been some environmental constraints that have prohibited or precluded redevelopment of that particular site. So with the county's support, we are now able to take care of the asbestos abatement and demolition of that structure, complete the necessary environmental remediation to achieve regulatory closure, and ultimately kind of repurpose that entire site to support our surface parking infrastructure, to support our existing downtown businesses, as well as our new businesses, and what we hope will be an influx of residents as we look to add residents to our downtown loop. As Jeff alluded to, this parcel is kind of opens the key that opens up the much larger project, our downtown loop redevelopment project, trying to bring in those 200 to 225 new housing units, roughly 20,000 square feet of new ground floor retail. Obviously, with this increased population density, all in keeping with our comprehensive plan, we believe this increased surface parking is important. We've always committed to our residents that we want parking to be free, we want it to be accessible, and you're not going to lose any parking as a result of this development. So your support, this $325,000 investment, really does close the critical financing gap. Banks kind of just been on an island out there for a while now, so can't thank you enough. It's projected to support over 500 construction jobs, 90 permanent jobs, and tens of millions in economic output for our region. So,
Right. Yeah.
simply put, on behalf of the city of Sharonville, our mayor, Kevin Hardman, our city council, myself, and our entire team, I just want to say thank you. Also want to give April and Kelly Adamson, who I don't see in here, an amazing shout out. They do incredible work at all hours of the day, and I can't speak more highly of them, but you already know that. But
Yeah.
otherwise, thank you. We look forward to getting started, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Well, thank you so much for coming out and your kind words. And I know Sharonville is well known for coming to show gratitude to the county. I appreciate that. So, did you have anything you'd like to say?
I just want to say thank you. We're happy to partner. It's 49 municipalities, aging infrastructure, so we have to invest in economic development in all of them. So thank you so much.
Commissioner Driehaus.
Yeah, thank you. This is the output of the Community Revitalization Grant that we instituted a while back, and delighted to know that this is doing exactly what it's intended to do, which is commingle with other financing from Sharonville to make this project go. And so thank you so much for coming in and reminding us about the importance of these dollars that in partnership with you to do better in Sharonville, because when you succeed, we succeed, and it's great for our residents all over the county. So thank you for that.
Thank you. It's economic development's a team sport, and we appreciate your teamwork. So thank you.
Hopefully we'll pass it.
I'll sit around and wait.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
Okay.
Commissioners, item 15 is similar a grant. This is with the City of Reading. I do not think I saw a representative from Reading here today, but this is $400,000 for Reading related to the acquisition and demolition of a blighted building in their business district as well. Item 16 is a resolution approving the cooperation agreements with municipalities for participation in the county's community development block grant program for years 27, 28, and 29. Item number 17, Commissioners, is a human resources item. This is the tentative collective bargaining agreement between the county and the IUOE Local 20 and the Stadium Security Specialist 1 and 2 at Paycor Stadium. Items 18 begin a sequence of JFS items. Item number 18 are the bid awards and contracts for JFS for the month of May 2026 in the total amount of $10,638. Item 19 is a renewal of a single source agreement with Safe House Residential Services for group home services, $100,000. Item 20 is a renewal of an amendment and an agreement with New Path for residential treatment services at $3 million. Item 21 is a renewal and agreement with the Village Network for residential treatment services, $423,000. Item 22 is a renewal of an agreement with NECO for residential treatment services, $1.23 million. Item 23 is a renewal and amendment with Children's Hospital Medical Center, their North College Hill campus for residential treatment services, $1.621 million. Item 24 is a renewal and amendment of an agreement with Lighthouse Youth Services for residential treatment services, $212,000. The total of those JFS items is $6.6 million. And that completes your consent agenda, Commissioners, other than to say that back on Mr. McCandless's item, item number 14, there was a typo there. As he correctly pointed out, the total is $325,000, not $350,000. I'm sure you wouldn't have minded passing the incorrect amount, but just want to make sure the board knows that we will revise that resolution.
Okay. Thank you so much. Vice President Reese.
No questions.
Commissioner Dreehouse.
Yeah, I have a quick question on item 16 about the partnership we have with the jurisdictions. I know we go out and ask them if they would like to participate in this program. Do we have the same number this year as we've had in the past?
Commissioners, Angela Rockman is here, and so not to
No, I just didn't see her
so that
behind
so that she doesn't waste her trip down here. Angela, would you like to just process in the number of communities?
Good morning, Commissioners. Yes, we have the same number of participating communities as we have the last 3 years. The communities that chose not to participate are Blue Ash, Evendale, Indian Hill, Terrace Park, and of course Milford, which is a split place, and they opted to go with Claremont County for their urban county jurisdiction. And so what that means is that HUD entitlement spending will not be allowed to be administered in those communities, nor will their citizens be able to participate in the projects that we have throughout our nonprofits and other countywide initiatives.
So how many are participating?
We have 43.
Yeah, 49, 43, so pretty good number. I just want to highlight the positive.
Great number. No, I think we didn't lose any.
Much
All
lower
of the townships
years,
are automatically included, so we're very happy that.
Very good. Thank you for your work on this. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. And Angela, I know for years it was much lower, so that's really good. And are you thinking about maybe going to those three entities and speak at their council meeting or something? Would it pay for us to go out I imagine the money will still be there, but they can't qualify now.
They cannot qualify now, but they can qualify mid-cycle. So if someone didn't join in for 27 and we can kind of work on that community. They can join in 28 or 29.
Okay.
I do want to thank Commissioner Driehaus. She scheduled a meeting with Blue Ash. We did talk to them, but they had a couple council members that were willing, but a few that were not. So.
Okay. Thank you so much. Do you have anything else?
The challenge here is that those community members then don't reap the
Right.
benefits, but that's up to the local jurisdiction, so. yeah.
So 43, that's about what, 80-something%? Or so we're doing good. Yeah. Okay, so under consent agenda items, number 11, I want to make sure, Jeff, almost 3,000 for balloons. I think maybe that's for Veterans Appreciation.
Yes, Commissioners, I think that is for the Veterans Appreciation event, I believe.
$3,000?
I can look more into it, Commissioner.
No, I mean,
That's the,
it's a big place, so I don't know. Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Item 17, I want to speak about the collective bargaining agreement and just the fact, I want to thank staff, the union, and also the entities that are involved in this union, because it is very hard to negotiate and get a union contract done. So please pass my appreciation on, Jeff, if you can.
absolutely.
Under JFS, sounds like we have $6.6 million to add on to the $100 million that we had counted the last time for allocation. I just want to make it clear, it's not what we've spent, but it's what we've allocated so far in JFS for services. So we're adding on another $6.6 million, and we're not through the year yet. And I was even thinking, Jeff, as you were reading these, and you did a great job, but maybe people like number 20, for example, 3 million, read it a little slower, so people can, not now.
No.
But
I
I'm
was
just
going to
saying.
say the interpreters usually try to keep me on.
Oh, okay.
On pace with that to
Yeah.
read it more slowly. So.
Okay, but we go through this and people are listening, and I'm thinking 1.621 million. People need to hear that. Not that they're not hearing it, but it's just really significant. That's all I had. So at this point, I'd like to make a motion to adopt items 8 through 24.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Thank you. All righty. I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner Summer Dumas?
Yes.
Commissioner Reese?
Yes.
Commissioner Dreehouse?
Yes.
Thank you.